Before I start, let me introduce myself first. So, my name is Nadina Shaw Apriliani with student number 123241135. And hello, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. Today, I'm going to talk about a really fascinating, important topic. The topic is about Africa's plan to bring chocolate profits home. So, this issue is not just about chocolate, it is about a fairness, opportunity, and change. You might be surprised to learn that although Africa grows the majority of the world's cocoa, the main ingredient in chocolate, the countries that grow it earn only a tiny portion of the profit. Let me explain how that works, why it is a problem, and what people in Africa are doing to change the situation. Okay, let's start with a little background. Cocoa is a tropical crop, which means it grows best in warm, humid places. That is why countries in West Africa are perfect for it. In fact, more than 70% of the world's cocoa comes from just a few African countries, mainly Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon. These countries have the right climate, land, and a long history of growing cocoa. Every year, millions of small farmers and workers in Africa plant, gather, and harvest cocoa beans. It is hard and time-consuming work. But here is the big issue. Even though Africa grows the cocoa, most of the chocolate we see in stores around the world, chocolate bars, candies, drinks, and dessert is not made in Africa. Instead, the cocoa beans are exported to countries in Europe and North America. That is where the big chocolate companies are based. These companies take the raw beans, turn them into chocolate design, the packaging, create the brands to do advertising, and sell the final project. And most importantly, they make most of the money. So, how much does Africa actually earn from this global chocolate business? Sadly, very little. Studies show that African farmers receive less than 5% of the total value of a chocolate bar. That means that if you buy a $2 chocolate bar, the farmer who grew the cocoa may only get a few cents. This is especially unfair when you consider that the work of growing cocoa is hard and time sensitive. These farmers often work long hours under the sun but still live in poverty. This system is not new. It is a pattern that started a long time ago during the colonial period. Back then, European power would take raw materials from African colonies, like cocoa, coffee, cotton, and gold, and ship them back to Europe. There, they were turned into finished products and sold for much higher price. Sadly, even though colonialism officially ended decades ago, the economic structure has not changed that much. Many African countries still export raw materials and import finished products. But here is the good news. Change is finally beginning. Across Africa, people are starting to ask an important question. Why cannot we make chocolate ourselves? Why can African countries keep more of the profit by processing cocoa beans and producing chocolate at home? And now, many local entrepreneurs, farmers, and even government are working together to answer that question with action. And one exciting example comes from Madagascar. There is a company called Beyond Good, and they are doing something different. Instead of just growing cocoa and exporting the beans, they make the chocolate right in Madagascar. They train local workers, use local ingredients, and create chocolate bars that are sold in the US and Europe. This means that more money stays in Madagascar and farmers have more reason to be proud of what they do. It also means local workers gain skills and experience in chocolate production and packaging. And another inspiring story comes for Ghana, one of the world's largest cocoa producers. There, a company called Fairfree is making high quality, chocolate using local worker and resources. What is special about Fairfreight is that their factory runs on solar power and they are committed to fair trade. That means they pay farmers fairly and support good working conditions. Building the factory was not easy. The founder talk about the many challenges. They faced periods like of support from banks and delays in government process, but they didn't give up. No, very fair is helping to change the story of Ghana from being just a cocoa supporter to being a chocolate making nation. So, what role the government play in all of this? Government in countries like Ghana, Nigeria, and South Africa are starting to recognize that it's important to support local chocolate industries. They are creating trade missions and agreements that make it easier for African chocolate brands to do business across the continent. They are also helping by improving infrastructure, offering training, and promoting women-led business in the cocoa and chocolate sector. These steps are essential because building a chocolate industry takes more than just good cocoa beans you need roads, electricity, skilled worker, clean water, and access to market. There are also a growing interest from international investors who want to support African chocolate factories are being built in new places like Kenya and Nigeria, and more young people are getting involved in entrepreneurship with food technology and sustainable farming. Schools and programs are beginning to teach chocolate production as real career option, not just farming. And however, the journey is not easy, and there are still many obstacles. Making chocolate is a complex process. You need expensive machines, knowledge of recipes, strict quality control, and consistent electricity, which is still a problem in some part of Africa. Competing with big international brands like Nestle, Mars, and Lind is very difficult. These companies have been around for decades, have strong global marketing power, and can offer chocolate at low prices that small African brands cannot always match. And there are also serious social issues that must be addressed. In many cocoa growing areas, farmers still receive very low wage. Child labor and environmental damage such as deforestation and sterile problem. If Africa wants to build a truly fair and sustainable chocolate industry, it will need to solve these issues too. That means improving education, protecting the environment, and making sure cocoa farming is a respected and rewarding job. But here is what gives hope: consumer behavior in changing. More and more people around the world want to buy ethical chocolate. They want to know where their food come from. They want to support farmers and companies that treat people and the planet with respect. This growing interest in fair trade and sustainability give African chocolate bakers a special advantage. They can offer not only delicious products, but also a powerful story, a story of empowerment, dignity, and economic independence. So, to wrap things up, Africa is finally making moves to bring chocolate profits home by creating local factories, building strong brands, training skilled workers, and investing in local business. African countries are beginning to rewrite their role in the global chocolate industry. It is not an easy path, but it is both an important one. If this plan success, it could lift thousands of families out of poverty, create a stronger economy, and change how the world sees Africa, not just a place of raw materials, but as a source of creativity, innovation, and value. And next time you enjoy a chocolate bar, Think about the hand that made it possible. And maybe in the near future, that chocolate, that chocolate bar will say something pretty on its wrapper, made in Africa. And the last, thank you so much for your listening.